Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Can you guys tell that I'm so excited for today's video? I'm sure by the title of this video you guys can tell that today is a first impression on a new makeup brand that recently launched in India, and that is Forever 52. I believe this brand is from the UAE and it recently launched in India end of last year, and I've been seeing so many bloggers use their product and talk about their product, especially professional makeup artists. Plus Malvika Sitlani also did an IGTV on her Instagram and it looked really fun. So this was the brand that was always at the back of my mind and I wanted to give this brand a try, and I finally took the plunge and purchased a couple of items, maybe a little more than couple. um, by the way, this is the eye look that I created using the products that I bought. So in case if you guys want to see what all products I got, I recently did a huge collective haul on my channel, so I'm going to leave it somewhere on the screen or in the description box below for you guys to watch the video. In case if you guys want to see how I got this makeup look and want to know what I feel about this brand, then please continue watching. I've already got my base done because I did not buy any base related products from the brand itself, because I wasn't really sure about those products. Plus, when I was trying to look for foundation and a concealer for myself, the shade range seemed a little and the swatches available online wasn't helping either, so I decided to skip those. Okay, so my eyes are primed and prepped for the shadow. For eyeshadow today, I've got two palettes right here. So this is the Forever 52 Diamond Dusk eyeshadow palette. You get 15 different eyeshadows in this palette, and it's got a bunch of different formulas in here. There are some shimmer shades, matte shades as well, and some metallic shades too. I'll be inserting the swatches of these eyeshadow palette on the screen for you guys. I really like the shade selection in this palette as well. This row right here, it's for an everyday use, so it's got a bunch of different neutral tones in here that you can wear on an everyday basis. And this section right here has got a bunch of different colorful metallic shades. While I was watching the palette for you guys, I noticed that the shadows are super pigmented. They feel very creamy and they don't go patchy. I've not really tried them on my eyes yet, but from the swatches they've swatched beautifully. Shimmer and the metallic shades in this palette, they have more of a creamy consistency, so when you touch them they almost feel a little bit wet, but once you put it on your eyes it kind of sets into this powdery finish. And especially this shade from the palette, it is super creamy and super wet, but it looks amazing. So yeah, that's that palette for you guys. And the other palette that I have is this one, which is Forever 52 Magnificent Eyeshadow Palette, and this is what the palette looks like. It feels really heavy, it feels very sturdy, and look at all the shades, you guys. It is such an amazing palette to look at. It's only got metallic shades in here, so you might need an additional palette that has your basic neutral shades if you want to use this palette. But I feel like nowadays everybody owns one or two palettes that has neutral matte shades to work with, or if you don't, you can always use your bronzer, that works as well. The shadows in this palette is super creamy, just like the previous one. It also has this very creamy wet like texture, super pretty. So I'm gonna try to use both the palettes on my eyes today, and let's just dive into these shadows because oh my god, I cannot wait. First I'm gonna be using this palette right here. I'm gonna be doing two different eye looks on both my eyes to see how this shadow performs, and so that I can use more shades from both the palettes on my eyes. So yeah, so for my left eye first I'm going to be using this shade from the palette. So I'm going to be using this shade on my crease just to define my crease a bit. So one thing I've noticed is that this shadow has got a bit of fallout. I mean, I don't mind that, but in case if you do, then I'm just letting you know. Okay, so that shade went on beautifully. I had absolutely no problem blending out the shadow, and it doesn't look patchy whatsoever. So that shade from the palette is good. I like it, I like it. So for my right eye, I'm gonna be doing something a little bit more dramatic, and first I'm gonna be dipping onto this shade from the palette. It's a nice mid-tone peachy warm matte shade. Ooh. Okay, so this eyeshadow particularly has a lot of kickback. Can you see in the palette? I'm gonna be tapping off any excess that I have building this color in my crease. Okay, so I'm happy to report that even this eyeshadow performed really well. I had absolutely no problem blending out the shade in my crease, so that's a good thing. We are off to a good start, you guys. I hope it stays this way or else I'll be really sad. Next, for my left eye, I'm gonna be using this shade from the palette. It's a matte dusty rose shade. It looks so pretty, so I'm gonna be using that to define my crease even more. The shade, you guys, is super pretty. I really like the shade in my crease. One thing I've noticed with this palette is that it does not have any name to it whatsoever, which is really annoying. I just noticed it. It would have been so much more easy for me to let you guys know what shade I'm using. But anywho, that eyeshadow is really pretty. I mean, can you guys see how pretty that is? Okay, moving on to my right eye, I'm gonna be using this matte orange shade from the palette. That literally took me a couple of seconds to blend it out. I mean, wow. So far, the matte shadows in this palette have been performing really well. I'm really impressed by all the matte shadows from this palette, you guys. Moving on to my left eye, I'm gonna be using this matte shade from the palette. This eyeshadow, on the other hand, has no kickback to it whatsoever. Like, wow. So some of the shadows are pressed really lightly and some of the eyeshadows are pressed really hard. So yeah, because I like the shadow already. So I'm not gonna say this again because I don't want to sound repetitive, but the eyeshadow, it's amazing. Moving on to my right eye, I'm gonna be using this matte brown from the palette. Let's see how this one performs. You guys, this palette, super impressed. I really like the fact that it is pigmented, but it's not too pigmented to a point wherein you are sitting there blending out the eyeshadow for 2000 years. Because oftentimes if an eyeshadow is too pigmented, so people who are beginner in makeup might find it difficult to work with such palettes. From whatever shades that I've tried in this palette, it is good. Okay, so this eyeshadow is not really applying that well with a brush. Using my finger now to apply this eyeshadow on my lid, and bam. Can you see how pigmented it looks? So with the shimmer shadows, I would suggest using your fingers. Now that's what I'm talking about, baby. So for my right eye, I'm gonna be using a shade from this palette right here. I think I will be using this shade from the palette, which is this gold metallic shade. So I'm gonna try using it with a brush and see how it performs. If not, then I'll use my finger. I don't know if it's this palette, but it's got a bit of a oily fragrance to it, which I am not a huge fan of. I just noticed it, but yeah. Whoa, now that's some pigment. So I think fingers are the best way to work with the metallic shadows in both the palette. I feel like without using your fingers is definitely going to give you a lot more pigment than using a brush. I think I'm happy with the way this eye look turned out. So now I'm quickly going to do my eyelashes, mascara and my lower lashes off camera, and I'm going to be right back. Okay, so I did a wing liner and I also applied some false lashes. So moving on to lips, I do have a couple of options in lips. So I picked up these two lip liners and I picked it up in two shades. I did swatch these lip liners as well earlier just to see and play around with the lip liner. And these lip liners, you guys, once you apply it and let it set for some time, they do not budge. Can you see? They are not moving anywhere. That means that they are going to be extremely long lasting, and also they glide on very smoothly. They feel very creamy when I was watching them as well, so that is a good indication. And for actual lipstick, I picked these two right here. So this one right here is the Forever 52 matte long lasting lipstick, and this one is their matte lip crayon. Again, I don't understand what's the logic behind not naming them and just giving them numbers, because that was the case with the lip liner as well. It's the same with the lipstick too. This one right here, it's in the shade MLC005. Let me show you guys how it looks like. This is what this pencil looks like right here. It's swatched beautifully. It feels very creamy as well. It says it's a matte lip crayon, but it feels more of a satin matte. So moving on to this one. This one is in the shade MLS013, and this is what the actual lipstick looks like. It comes in this super sleek black packaging. It's got this transparent bottom here with the actual shade of the lipstick at the bottom, so it makes it very easier to see what shade you have in case if you have multiple of these lipsticks. This is what the lipstick looks like. It's a very pretty nude peachy matte shade. That's what this lipstick looks like. I don't have any lipstick that looks like this, so I'm really excited. Since the eye look is a bit out there, I'm gonna keep it very subtle on my lips. For my lips, I'm gonna be using this lip liner in the shade F1614, which is this one, the darker one. So for lipstick, I'm going to be using this one right here. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so that is what the lipstick looks like. I had absolutely no problem applying the lipstick, but since the color is so nude, it's kind of giving me a butthole lip, which I am not a huge fan of. But overall, the lip combo is what I really like. I really like this lip combo. So yeah. Okay, so there you go guys. Those were all the products that I bought, and that was my first impression. And honestly you guys, I am super impressed by most of the products, and I'm so happy about that. From all the products that I've tried today, the eyeshadow palettes are definitely a standout, and I would highly recommend you guys checking out their eyeshadow palettes. The eyeshadows blended out beautifully. The pigmentation is amazing. I did use a shade from the smaller palette as a highlighter on my cheek, and it looks amazing. And the second product that absolutely stood out to me were the lip liners. You guys saw it from the swatches earlier. These lip liners are smudge proof and budge proof. They glided on beautifully. They are so creamy, and because it sets so fast, I feel like it's gonna last a really long time on your lips, which is a great thing. They have so many different shades in the lip liners. In case if you didn't like the shades from the palettes that I chose, they do have multiple variants in the same palette, so there is something for everyone. And moving to the lipstick, I absolutely love the shade that I'm wearing right now, but it's giving me a butthole lip, which I am not really a huge fan of. Like mentioned earlier, I don't know how long lasting the formula is because I haven't tested it out yet. I will let you guys know in the future. The other lipstick that I showed you guys earlier, I totally forgot to mention it to you guys, that it has a retractable mechanism, so you don't have to sharpen this bad boy up, which is a good thing. And I absolutely loved the shade on this one. This is the kind of shade that I usually like to wear on an everyday basis, so I can't wait to try this one out on my lips. And needless to say, I am super impressed by this brand. Their price range is something that I also really like because they have something for everyone. So their product starts from 200 or 150 and they go up to 5,000, so there is something for everyone. So in case if you want to try their brand, you don't really have to break the bank in order to try their product. And I really enjoyed the products that I bought. And yeah, that's it for my first impressions, you guys. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this brand? Have you ever heard about this brand, or you didn't, or maybe you've tried something from this brand? Let me know in the comments down below. In case if you like this video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and also click the bell notification to be notified every time I post a video. And with that, you guys, I'm gonna take a leave, and I'm gonna see you guys in my next video. Bye. Mwah.